usually don't care about graveyard shifts, but now I'm terrified. I work a graveyard shift as a security guard for a recycling yard. I've been on this site for 2 weeks, this being the second. Basically, every hour I make rounds across a giant recycling yard covered in various precious metals that are broken down and sold. During my shift, I scan various checkpoints and ensure nobody besides me is in the yard. One of my other tasks is to go through some grassy, bushy terrain and over a set of train tracks to take a photo of a warehouse far across. This is to ensure it is safe and clear. I have to use a flashlight with 2K lumens so I can see my way through pretty much the entire yard. Well, just an hour and a half ago on my round, I went through the grass and over the train tracks. I took the picture of the warehouse and submitted it. All of a sudden, I get this intense feeling that I'm being watched. My hairs on my neck stand up and I freeze. My flashlight is still on me and pointing at the warehouse. I slowly turn around and point my flashlight behind me. Kid you not, about 10 yards away, I see a skinny, old, wrinkled, white man with a large white beard sitting on a chair. He was looking directly at me. He had dirty jean overalls and what I think was a western style cowboy fedora on. He was bare skin under the overalls. Now I'm a 6 foot 220 pound man, but I screamed at a pitch that was embarrassing. Accidentally, I dropped my flashlight out of shock. Mind you, there were thin tiny metal shards literally everywhere on the ground. I can't see a damn thing now as the flashlight is facing away from my sight. All I hear is quick pace, shuffling, clanging of metal from footsteps quickly running towards me. Once the metal crunching footsteps are within maybe 5 feet of me, I hear them quickly veer to the left and past me. Within 3 to 4 seconds, the metal clanging is gone, followed by the faraway sound of rustling bushes. I then grabbed my flashlight from the ground and pointed to the sound. The old man was gone, past the bushes to who knows where. I was shaking from adrenaline and fear. I managed to catch my breath and called several emergency contacts. When they arrived, the old man was long gone. I believe maybe he was just there to watch the active trains to move across. I say this because the metal chair was facing the tracks. It's still there. I took a photo of it, more as a memento if anything. I am now in the office, still terrified and alone, haunted by an unknown man. A series of events started to happen when I was very young. Around 8 or 9, there's a chance of the series not being connected. My feeling is it's all connected to one disturbed man. The first event was the phone that started ringing almost every night between 2 and 2:30 a.m. Being a light sleeper, it woke me constantly. My parents didn't ever appear to be bothered, probably because they both were drunk almost every night and passed out. Even when I did complain, they would just respond by saying it was probably the wrong number or something along those lines. It gave me a bad feeling every night hearing that loud rattling landline phone ringing in the kitchen. One night, out of curiosity and frustration, when that phone rang, I decided to answer it. I heard some distant music in the background and heavy breathing. Now being older, I can say it sounded like someone was sitting in a bar. Eventually, my parents changed the number. A few months after my parents changed the number, I was awakened again by a different sound. There is something creepy about hearing noises at night in an isolated country house. Every little sound can be heard. Every sound lingers. You can feel it. So when I heard that car slowing down on the road in front of our house, it woke me with an unsettling feeling. I remember I could hear how the tires drove over the gravel in the driveway. My heart sank. I looked up at the wooden square clock in my bedroom. It was 2:17 a.m. For reasons I cannot explain, I crawled out of my bed and walked out to the living room and glanced out the windows that hung above the driveway. I kept my distance from the window so he couldn't see me. I stared down at him through the sheer curtains. A man in a dark-colored Buick Century sat in a car facing my house. I couldn't make out distinctive facial features. I could see he had light-colored hair with a bowl cut style. If I had to guess now, I would say he was in his early to mid-30s. He just sat there. He stared up at my house in a trance. I don't even remember him moving. I waited to see what he was going to do. I was filled with fear. Around 15 minutes, he just sat there. Then he very slowly backs up and drives away. He kept his eyes on the house as he drove away. So maybe wrong house or he was a drunk. Who knows? Then I think he visited again. It was a Sunday evening and I was in the front yard playing with my siblings. I still remember that dreaded feeling of returning to school the next day. A car pulls up and it stops in front of the mailbox down the road. Our house was on a little hill with a back road in front. The mailbox was down on the road. We stopped playing and watched down in curiosity. We knew it was Sunday and the mail doesn't come. Also, that is not the regular mailman's car. The man continued to sit there staring up at us. At one point, he reached his arm out the window and acted like he put something in the mailbox, then drove about 50 yards up the road and stopped and sat. So my siblings told me to go check the mailbox. I don't know why they told me to, maybe because I was the youngest. I walked down the little hill and opened the mailbox and nothing was in it. Suddenly, I hear tires screeching and the car was flying towards me in reverse. I screamed and we all ran into the house. He drove off very fast. We told our parents and they thought we were confused and minimized the situation. That night while laying in bed, it clicked in my head. That man was the same man that came that one night. It was the same car and I remember the blonde hairstyle. An unsettling feeling sank in. About a year after that one day in school, I heard teachers telling kids to avoid a dark colored Buick. They said a man was trying to kidnap kids at their mailbox after getting off the bus. I moved out of that town a few years later when my parents got divorced. Every once in a while, he comes to my dreams, but I never heard anything about this man ever again. Creepy man hiding in the woods. This happened around 3 years ago, and thinking about it, it still makes me feel uneasy. I live in a rural area, surrounded by a nature conservation area. There are many nice paths, and it's a great peaceful and quiet place to go for walks, ride bikes. On this day, I decided to take my dog for a walk there in the evening. I didn't want to go that far. For some reason, I decided to leave my phone at home, even though I usually take it with me, just in case. Everything was going well, and as usual, I barely met anyone. At some point, I got to my favorite spot, a wooded area. There is a field behind it, and I plan on walking all the way to the end. Then I wanted to turn around and take the same way home. As I continued walking, after I made it through the wooded area, my dog started acting strange. She kept looking back and didn't want to go on. I thought she had spotted a deer or a rabbit and wasn't concerned. I didn't look around right away, but then she let out a little growl. I had never heard her do that before. I turned around and sure enough, there is a man standing on the edge of the wooded area, like maybe 10 meters next to the path. He was fully clothed and didn't move. He was just staring at us. My heart was pounding. No matter where I would go, I would still be in a secluded area for a while. I didn't think and just started walking quickly towards the end of the field. My dog still wasn't having it. When I turned around after getting a bit further away, he had also moved. Now he was standing on the field, still staring intensely. That's when I really knew we had to get going. I didn't look back until we got to the end of the field. Because of some trees, my view was obstructed. I couldn't see him, and my dog seemed a bit calmer. Obviously, I didn't want to stop for more than a few seconds though. From there on, I decided to take the path that would take me to some part of my town the quickest. We literally ran, and I was so relieved when we made it back. I have no idea what his intention was.